ang motion ni Honorable Barsaga, there's a motion for contempt. The motion is to declaring contempt and to detain him for 3 days. Are there any objections from plenary, from Zoom? There being none, the motion and the penalty is hereby carried.
And your name is Attorney Pocallan o Pocallan?
Pocallan po, sir.
Oh, Attorney Pocallan, you were working under Attorney Asuncion at the time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Itong arbitration decision na ito was upheld by the PhilHealth Board. Is that correct?
On the perpetual, sir.
Perpetual sucor lang tayo. Walang ibang
Yes.
hospital ang pinag-uusapan natin.
Yes, sir.
Tama?
Yes po, sir.
I am back, Mr. Chair.
Pagkatapos na ma-uphold ng PhilHealth, ang ginawa ng perpetual sucor, nag-appeal sa Court of Appeals. Tama,
Yes
Attorney?
po, sir.
Okay. Ano nangyari sa Court of Appeals? Alam mo?
I think, sir, it was affirmed by the
Ngayon
decision of the
ka ng
board
I
was
think.
affirmed.
Alam mo yun, ikaw nandun ka naman eh. Huwag mong gamitin yung I think. What happened?
The decision of the PhilHealth Board was affirmed by the Court of Appeals.
Correct. Nag-motion for recon, di ba? Oh. And the motion for reconsideration was denied by the Court of Appeals. Ibig sabihin, yung desisyon ng arbitration office ninyo at saka yung desisyon ng PhilHealth, tama. Sumangayon ng korte, di ba? O di ba ang ganda sana, ang ganda ng prestigyo ninyo sapagkat sinuportahan kayo ng Court of Appeals. Sino sa inyong mga lawyers ang gumawa ng legal opinion na yung desisyon ng Court of Appeals na yon, which has become final and executory, ay mapalitan? Sino ang gumawa ng legal opinion sa inyo? Mabuti pa, mag-aminan tayo para madali tayo.
Yes, sir.
Anong yes, sir? Sino ka ako? Yes, sir.
Ako po, sir, sa internal legal
Yun,
department.
ikaw, di ba? Alam mo ang ginawa mo, you gathered certain jurisprudence. Meron akong hawak nung ginawa mong legal opinion. Nagkalap ka ng mga jurisprudence na ang sinasabi, even the principle of finality of judgment can be changed. Kasi, isip-isipin mo, Mr. Chair, ipinanalo nga ng PhilHealth, sumuporta na nga ang Court of Appeals. In-uphold na nga. Talagang tama lang na suspindihin ng 3 months ang perpetual sucor. Akalain mong gagawa ng policy na palitan yung 3 months suspension. Alisin. Mr. Chair, alam nyo ba kung ano yung average na claim ng perpetual sucor per month? Between 2016 to 2018, alam mo ba, Attorney Pocallan, kung ilan ang average monthly claim ng perpetual sucor sa PhilHealth?
Sir, hindi po.
Ha? 30 million, di ba? Monthly.
Hindi ko alam.
30 million, Attorney Pocallan.
Ang hirap naman sa inyo, nagkakakunwa-kunwari pang hindi nyo maintindihan. 30 million ang average na kine-claim ng perpetual sucor. Kaya kapag ka sinuspindi mo for 3 months, maliwanag na 90 million ang mawawala sa kanila. So gumawa kayo ng policy ngayon, ikaw ang gumawa ng legal opinion na pwedeng palitan kahit na yung desisyon upheld na ng court at naging final and executory. Ang sabi mo rin, nangalap ka ng desisyon eh. Oh, isa sa mga nakuha mong jurisprudence, pupwede ka niya napalitan yung final and executory nature ng isang kaso kapag ka ang pinag-uusapan lang ay correction of clerical errors. Ibig mo bang sabihin, yung pagkakadesisyon ng 3 months suspension, clerical error lang, Attorney Pocallan?
Hindi po, sir.
Oh, bakit nga ngayon gagamitin mo itong mga desisyon na ito? Meron pang isa. Non pro tunc entries. As a lawyer, kabisado mo yon. Mga entrada ito na dapat nandun sa pagkakamali lang, kaya nilagay, sinupply. Parang pinsambuo din ng clerical errors. Tama?
Sir, can I explain the
Teka muna, tinatanong kita eh. Hindi ko sasabi na
background of
explain
that?
ka. Okay? Ito ang mga kondisyon na pupwede lang ng isang desisyon na final na ay pwede mong baguhin. Kasi clerical lang naman eh. Halimbawa, nagkamali yung nag-type. Ang award is 10 million. Ang nailagay niya 10 pesos. Eh, hindi naman, mali naman talaga. Kailangan itama mo. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng clerical. Yun ang nunc pro tunc entries. O, ang isa pang kondisyon na pwede mong palitan, kung void ang judgment. Void ba yung judgment? Nanggaling sa arbitration office, pinagtibay ng PhilHealth, inuphold ng Court of Appeals, ibig mo sabihin, void ang judgment? Void ba, Atty. Pocallan?
No,
Hindi.
sir.
O, gagamitin mo ba ngayon, ito ang dahilan mo para palitan mo yung suspension at i-maximize na lang daw, Mr. Chair, yung penalty na lang ng fine. Bakit? Alam mo yung ginawa mo dito sa yung ito, pare-pareho. Correction of clerical errors. Kinalap niya ang mga jurisprudence para palitawin niya na po pwedeng palitan ang isang decision that has become final and executory. Ang sabi niya, ang isa pa, yung technicality kanya, hindi po pwedeng manaig doon sa substantive right nung partido. Anong technicality dito, Atty. Pocallan? Anong substantive right ang nawala sa POSOCOR samantalang napatunayan nyo na nag-falsify ng entries? In-extend niya yung confinement ng mga patients. Anong sinasabi mo na mayroong technicality over substantive right? Anong substantive right ang pinoproteksyonan nitong ginawa mong legal opinion?
Sir, if you will notice, sir, sa legal opinion, when that legal opinion was presented before the board,
Oh,
I insisted talaga na the
Pupunta
matter...
ako doon, okay? Pupunta ako doon. Tinitingnan ko lang kasi naguhugas ka na naman eh. Kasi ikaw bang pinirmahan mo ito eh. Oh. Ang sabi mo rito, in view of the foregoing, yung pagkakakalap mo nitong mga balibaligtad na mga jurisprudence. In view of the foregoing, sabi mo, the higher interest of substantial justice and equity always provide a valid justification for the relaxation of rules. Anong higher interest of substantial justice kung papalitan mo yung suspension ng fines? What?
Sir, that opinion has no reference po sa perpetual SOCOR decision because that opinion was rendered June of, I think, 2018, sir, if I'm correct. June. But the perpetual case happened January of 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So, that's
Okay.
not the basis, sir, of the
Okay.
decision of the PhilHealth Board.
Bakit mo ginawa ito?
It's about a different case po, sir. But if you will notice...
Teka muna. Ito ay pagpapalit ng desisyon ng PhilHealth Board. Kahit na final and executory na.
Yes, sir, but
What
Yes, sir, but-
specific... Teka muna eh. Sumasagot ka kaagad, hindi pa ako natatapos.
Sorry po, sir.
What specific case or cases ang tinumbok ba nito? Bakit napilitan kang gumawa nito? First of all, who asked you to prepare a legal opinion such as this? What
Actually,
is
sir,
it
it
for?
was asked by the PhilHealth Board at the time because
What for?
there was
Why?
a case pending before them. It's the Medina General Hospital. It's on about Medina General Hospital, wherein there was a whistleblower who appeared before the board revealing some irregularity in the rendition of the investigation at the pro level. So the board decided to seek a legal opinion because there was already a decision by the court at the time. But the PhilHealth board that time was really disturbed because there was a whistleblower who appeared before the board. I think the Office of the Corse can issue the minutes of the minutes or the agreements during that meeting, sir. So it has nothing to do with the perpetual succor. I don't understand why it is being linked to a perpetual succor. It happened several months after. And besides, when that legal opinion was presented, I warned the PhilHealth board that the PhilHealth board, I said, may be exposing themselves to perception of partiality, no? Kasi nga, di ba, may decision na nga eh. I frankly told them. That's why I insisted that the matter should be referred to the Office of the Government Corporate Counsel.
Alam mo,
The minutes,
Atty.
sir, of the meeting, sir, will, I hope the Office of the Corsi can provide the minutes of the meeting on that.
So, ibig mo sabihin, ginawa mo ito dahil sa isang specific case?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The Bidina General...
Bakit hindi mo sinite dito yung case? It is as if that this is generally directed to all cases
Yun nga, sir, eh.
that
I mean,
might necessitate the changing of a final nature of a particular decision. Di
yes,
ba?
sir. Actually, it pertains only to one case at that time because there was a whistleblower ngang nag-appear sa
Yun
board.
nga eh. Alam mo, yung pagsisinungaling kasi napakahirap, Atty. Pocallan, kahit ano pang gawin mo. Itong PhilHealth Board, number 2334, series of 2017. Tama? Hindi
Yes,
ba
sir.
ginamit ito do sa perpetual succor?
Sir, may I refer you to our corporate secretary on that?
Hindi mo alam itong PhilHealth Board Resolution number 2334? 2017?
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with that.
Oh. Hindi ba ginamit ito sa perpetual succor? Kasi ang ginawa ninyo, imbes na 10,000 pesos ang fine, ginawa ninyong 100 to 200,000. Mas importante sa inyo kanyo na i-fine na lang ninyo kasi para hindi raw ma-interrupt yung service ng institution. Ang ifa-fine na lamang ay professionals. Hindi ba tama? Hindi ba ganito yung justification nitong PhilHealth Board na ito?
Yes, sir po.
Oh. Pinalitan ninyo yung 3-month suspension ng accreditation, pinalaki na lamang ninyo yung kanyang fine. Ginamit ninyo itong PhilHealth Board Resolution, ang basis niya yung ginawa mong resolution. Tama. Huwag kang tumango, sumagot ka.
Yes, sir po.
Oh. Sa makatwid, kahit na pala, final and executory na ang isang desisyon, kayang-kaya ninyong palitan. Bakit? Mas mataas ka pa ba sa Court of Appeals at pinalitan mo? Ang sabi ng Court of Appeals, tama po kayo, Mr. PhilHealth. Tama kayo, i-uphold ko kayo. In-uphold niya kayo ng Court of Appeals Bakit ninyo pinalitan ang desisyon? Mr. Chair, tingnan mo na lang ang kabalintunaan ng lahat ng ito. Bakit nyo pa kasi sinuspindi? Ganun din palang gagawin ninyo.
Sir, I think the Office of the Government Corporate Counsel has also issued a legal opinion
Wala pa
affirming that...
pakialam sa legal opinion ng Office of the Corporate Government Counsel o whatever. Hindi yun ang pinag-uusapan natin. Whatever opinion that that office will render, it doesn't matter. It has no relation. Ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, in-uphold ka na nga ng Court of Appeals. Okay? In-uphold ka na Tama yung decision ninyo. Papalitan nyo pa. Ang tanong ko, ganun din pala ang kapupuntahan nito Ba't nagrigodon pa kayo? Ba't sinuspindi mo pa kasi? Hindi ba? Wala kayong malasakit talaga. Paano kaya kanina yung tinatanong ka ni ni Congressman Boying, tinatanong kanya, ano ba kang patakaran ng pagsususpinde? Natatawa lang ako sa sagot mo eh. Wala talaga kayong masususpinde dahil sa PhilHealth Board Resolution 2334 Series of 2017 sapagkat hindi na ninyo pangangatawanan ang pagsususpinde. Ito yung PhilHealth Resolution. Hindi ba subsisting and enforceable pa itong resolution na ito? Di-revoke nyo na ba ito o hindi?
Sir, we have already recommended for the revocation of that.
Nirekomenda. Ang tinatanong ko sa iyo, subsisting ba or enforceable pa ngayon?
Mr. Chair, Mr.
No,
Congressman.
tinatanong ko si Atty. Pocallan. Ano? Alam mo ito eh.
Sir, we have already recommended.
Pag-aaralan nyo pa lang na i-revoke, di ba? Ngayon mo lang ngayon. Kasi ko, natiklo ka na eh. Kaya mo pag-aaralan. Ganyan naman kayo eh. Isip-isipin mong gagawa ka ng legal opinion. Itinalaga po kayong lahat para sinupin po ninyo ang PhilHealth Fund. Proteksyonan natin sapagkat hindi po nyo pera yon. Ang sabi nga po dito kung binabasa mo yung IRR ng Republic Act 7875, ito po yung PhilHealth Fund. Anong sinasabi po rito? Title 1, Section 1, Paragraph I, Fiduciary Responsibility. Anong ibig sabihin nun? The program shall provide effective stewardship, funds management, and maintenance of reserves. Naintindihan mo yun, attorney, di ba? Attorney ka naman eh. Yun ang level ng pag-iingat na kinakailangan sa pera ng PhilHealth. Paano yung gagawin yun? Nahuli mo na nga yung perpetual succor eh. Napatunayan na ng arbitration office. Napatunayan ng board. Inapheld ka ng Court of Appeals. Pagkatapos gagawa ka ng opinion, napaniwala mo naman yung board na kinakailangang palitan. Saan ka nakakita? Bakit korte ka ba? Is the PhilHealth Board is a court? Para yung decision ng Court of Appeals, papalitan nyo pa? Eh sasabi siguro ng Court of Appeals, pinagod nyo pa kami. Pinagod nyo pa kami. Eh papalitan nyo rin pala yung opinion namin eh. Mas magaling pa pala kayo sa amin eh. Mr. Chair, kung tagabantay ka ng isang bagay, babantayan mong mabuti. Eh, bantay sa lakay naman pala kayo eh. Isip-isipin mo itong pananagutan na ito, binibiro-biro lamang ninyo. Oh, may sasabihin ka? Meron kang gusto sabihin? Sino yung nasa katabi mo? Did you want to say something? Attorney Mangawang, nung panahon na yon at ngayon, pinresent sa board, ikaw ang corporate secretary, tama ba?
Yes, Mr.
Did you
Congressman.
ever say something about this? For example, nung gumawa siya ng legal opinion, sino sa mga lawyers ninyo ang nagbigay man lamang ng kahit na ang opinion, wag po, magkakamali po tayo dyan. May finality of judgment na yun eh. Napapalitan lang po ang hatol. Sabi nga natin, kung clerical lang. Halimbawa, si Congressman Barsaga, in-award sa kanya ng court 10 million, ang nalagay 10 pesos. Sabi, kailangan naman palitan. Hindi naman pwede hindi mo papalitan. Nagkamali lang, clerical eh. Nagkamali ba yung arbitration ninyo? Nagkamali ba yung PhilHealth Board? Nagkamali ba yung Court of Appeals? Hindi. Ba't mo papalitan? Ganito po kalala eh.
Honorable Marcoleta, Dr. Pargas, wala si Mr. Dimsiaco. Yung perpetual succor, binigyan nyo ng IRM yan na 78 million pesos, tama ba?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, wala lang ako data po ng...
You are the
IRM
fund
para sa-
management, ikaw ang nag-release ng pondo. You release 78 million to perpetual succor, is that correct? Under
wala lang ako
IRM?
data, Your Honor, sa IRM ng Perpetual Soccer.
Ano?
Wala lang ako data po. Check ko muna, Your Honor.
No, I have the data here. I'm telling you now. Bukod dun sa sinasabing kaso ni Honorable Marcoleta na ni-reverse ninyo yung inyong sarili, ni-rewardan nyo pa ng 78 million pesos under IRM. Honorable Marcoleta?
Niloko na kayo, natuwa pa kayo. Attorney Mangawang, sino ang ninong ng perpetual succor? Who spoke for perpetual succor in the board of directors?
Who spoke po? I'm not aware if I'm sorry. I'm not aware of any board member who has spoken with the perpetual succor, except that the perpetual succor delivered the motion for reconsideration on December 9, 2018.
Attorney Pocallan, sino nagpagawa sa iyo ng opinion para kampihan mo yung perpetual succor?
Sorry, sir.
Who asked you to make that opinion in favor of overturning what was already a won case in the Court of Appeals?
Sir, sorry sir, hindi ko po narinig.
Hindi, sino ang nagsabi sa iyo na maggumawa ka ng rekomendasyon sa board matapos kayo manalo sa Court of Appeals?
Sir, the PhilHealth Board po ang nag-decide na mag-issue ng legal opinion kung po pwede po ma-modify, actually modification of the decision in meeting.
Who in particular sa board ang nag-motion?
Mr. Chair,
Attorney Mangawang.
it was the Committee on Appealed Administrative Cases which requested
Sino
from the
yun? Particular member of the board?
I think there were 7 or 6 members of the board at that time.
Isa lang ang magmo-motion sa board. Sino nag-motion?
I don't have the records.
Sino yung anim? Sino yung anim na kumampi sa perpetual succor? Sino yung anim na board members? Are they the appointed ones or are they the ex-officio ones? Sino ang kumampi?
Sir, in the PBR 2418, dated January 10, 2019, all board members present during the meeting when the motion of perpetual succor was decided favorably, all 15 members signed the PhilHealth Board resolution.
Pero sino nga nag-propose to confirm, Dr. Pargas?
Mr. Chairman.
Yung pong IRM, you release 78 million to perpetual succor. Is that correct? Under IRM? Ba't parang nakakalimutan ninyo eh. Ako nga hawak ko yung datos.
Mr. Chairman, isang ano lang
What's that?
po.
What's
Mr.
that?
Attorney Labe will answer po.
Who? Attorney Labe.
Mr. Chairman, on our record, we released 78,134,000 on April 30 for perpetual succor.
Kahit na under suspension pa siya. You lifted the suspension and released the IRM. Is that correct, Attorney Labe?
Hindi na siya suspended. I think he's no longer, this hospital is no longer suspended, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, but that case, ito yung pagkatapos pa rin ng kaso nila and you awarded that 78 million, tama? This was 2019 January.
2020 na to.
Ang suspension nila was supposed to be January to April 2019, tama po ba?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Honorable
Chair.
Marcoleta.
Ito yung jurisprudence na sinayad mo, Atty. Pocallan, ha? Lagkaw versus Judge Gaco. Ang sabi mo rito, the High Court has recognized the existence of supervening event. Parang isa sa mga exceptions. I ask you, ano ang supervening event to justify the change of suspension para maging fine na lang? Was there a supervening event?
Sir, in that case,
Was there a supervening event? Yes or no?
in the case of Judge Gaco, sir.
Perpetual succor tayo eh.
Sir, in the case of, during the deliberation of the perpetual, I was not there. I'm not present.
Attorney Pocallan, ang binabasa ko sa iyo ay yung ginawa mong legal opinion. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Sabi ko nga sa iyo, nangalap ka ng jurisprudence para palitawin mo ng isang desisyon ay pwede pang palitan kahit final and executory na. Isa sa mga ito ay itong kay Judge Gaco, Lagkaw versus Judge Gaco, na dito'y sinabi kung merong isang supervening event. So ang tanong ko sa iyo, ano ang supervening event sa kaso ng perpetual health o perpetual succor? Ha? Wala, di ba?
Wala sir, kasi...
O kaya nga, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin nga itong mga ito. Pagkatapos, ginamit mo pa yung Rule 38 ng Revised Rules of Procedure na merong dapat fraud, accident, mistake, or excusable negligence. Meron bang fraud doon sa pagkakagawa ng arbitration at saka pagkaka-uphold ng PhilHealth? Meron bang accident? Meron bang mistake? May excusable negligence? Wala. In-uphold ka nga ng Court of Appeals. Ito ang nakaririmarim na gawain, Mr. Chair. Nakahuli ka na nga ng isang nagkamali. Para lang maitama mo at matakot naman yung kahit papano wag na nilang ulitin sa mga susunod na araw, alang-alang man lang, sa ikapuprotekta ng pondo ng PhilHealth, iniba pa. Ito yung nakapagtataka sa inyo eh. Ang sabi mo, the conversion of the penalty of suspension or revocation of accreditation as affirmed by the courts to maximum fine against institutional health providers may be considered. Ano yung sinasabi mo rito? Was there a court order na inaffirm ng court? Ang inaffirm ng court, yung suspension, hindi yung pagbabayan ng maximum fine. Meron kang intellectual dishonesty rito eh. Ito ang binigay mo sa PhilHealth. Yung PhilHealth Board naman siguro, hindi naman binabasa siguro, pirma na ng pirma eh. Katungkulan ninyo, i-guide ninyo siya. Kaya nga nandyan kayo eh. Pero kung kayo ang nandyan para paikutin nyo ang board, talagang ganyan nga mangyayari. Ang termino nga namin, mula't mula pa,
Mr. Chairman,
gatas ang baka ang nangyayari rito.
just a clarification.
Isa na lamang po, isa na lamang para mapagbigyan ka naman na Congressman Barsaga. Attorney Pocallan o Attorney Mangawang o kung sino man ang attorney sa inyo, alam niyo itong Corporate Order Number 2018-0039? Tinginan na naman kayo eh. Ito, ang sinabi niya rito, the policy under PBR, yung sinasabi ko kanina na 2334, ito yung pagpapalit ng parusa, kahit na file ng executory, merong sinasabi na may exceptions. Alam mo ang isa sa exception, Attorney Pocallan, Attorney Mangawang, etc., etc. Cases with decisions of the arbitration office. Okay? OCCOO or board or any offense which are already on appeal with the courts. Maliwanag dun eh. Pagka nasa korte na, wag mo nang pakikialaman. Hindi na po pwede yung PhilHealth Order 2334. Katakot-takot na policy yung ginagawa ninyo, pinapalit-palitan ninyo, kasi ayaw yung protectionan, ayaw yung alagaan. Paano ang pagtitiwala ng mamamayan sa inyo? Fiduciary responsibility, Mr. Chair. Kayo na mismong nagtakda nito eh. Kaya ang tanong ko kanina kung pwede lang sagutin bago ako matapos. Ganun pala ang pakay ninyo sa perpetual succor na kahit na napatunayan yung nagkasala, isip-isipin ninyo, 3 araw lang ang confinement ng isang pasyente. Ginawa nyo yung 30 halimbawa. At siyempre, malaki ang kikitain niya, di ba? Pinagmamali niya yung mga entries. Falsification. Ayaw nyo naman pala siyang suspindihin. Pinaikot-ikot pa ninyo pati Court of Appeals, babalik din pala kayo doon eh. Bakit po ganun? Pwede nga ba sumagot, Attorney Pocallan? Hindi nyo naman pala sususpin. Wala naman pala sa bokabularyo ninyo na suspindihin. O, di ba? Pinaikot-ikot nyo lang pati korte. Kagaya din sa Cardinal Santos. Nag-ikutan lang kayo. At palalabasin ninyo, korte ang gumawa. Mr. Chair, palagay ko napakaliwanag ng paikot-ikot na ito eh. Salamat po.
Mr. Chair, I agree. No, before I recognize you, Attorney Pocallan, short reply. Bakit? Ano nangyari?
Sir, actually, I warned, when that legal opinion was presented to the board, I warned them that the action of the board will be susceptible to partiality. Kaya nga, I suggested that
Attorney Pocallan, ano sana ako ihinto na sana, wag kang magsisinungaling lalo. Winarn mo. Bakit mo ginawa ito? Wawarningin mo rin pala. Dapat hindi mo ginawa ito
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just for the clarification of the lawyers, may mga abogado tayo galing sa PhilHealth. Just a very simple question. Can an administrative agency like the PhilHealth, even with the approval of the board of directors, can change a decision coming from the court which is already final and executory? Meron mang president yan na meron ng desisyon ang husgado, final and executory, pagkatapos papalitan nyo pa?
Yun, sinasabi ni Honorable Remulla, hindi mo susundin to favor a party. Attorney Pocallan, kindly answer.
Sir, according to OGCC legal opinion, it can be done. The
You are a
modification.
lawyer. Ang sinasabi lang natin dito, decision na to ng husgado. Pwede pa ba natin palitan yan, which is already final and executory? There must be stability insofar as judicial decisions are concerned. Ang nangyayari dito, para namang iba ang batas nyo at jurisprudence, sa nalalaman namin. So, simple question. Pwede nyo bang baguhin ang final decision ng husgado?
I will
Be it an
recognize-
RTC or
I
Court
will
of Appeals.
recognize Attorney Mangawang, who is the corporate secretary. You should have given legal guidance to the board.
Yes, Mr. Chair. The board was aware, it was aware at that time of the general rule that a decision that has become final and executory can no longer be altered. But it was also aware at that time that there are 5 exceptions to this general rule. And the board at
Pero,
that time...
okay, balik na lang tayo, simple na lamang. Kung i-alter ba ang decision ng husgado, sino ang mag-alter? In case of fraud, accident, mistake, or excusable negligence, shall it be the court which render the decision or the administrative body? Kaya, sinasabi ko lamang, simple lamang. Kasi may mga nanonood sa ating abogado o nakikinig. O yung mga future lawyers natin, pagkatapos maririnig nila mula sa abogado ng PhilHealth, may final decision na ang husgado, pwede nyo pang palitan. Sino ang mga member of board? Member ng board of directors at the time?
Attorney Mangawang?
The members of the board at that time, Mr. Chair.
Sino ang mga members ng board?
Sino yung present? Are you asking who was present during the meeting, Congressman Barsaga?
Ng modification or amendment or the change of the court
Ang
of
unang
Appeals
tanong ko
decision?
dito, at Honorable Barsaga, all members of the board were present nung ginawa to? Hindi, di ba?
Sir, at that time, there were 16 board members.
Present.
One was absent, sir.
Okay, so go
But
ahead.
only 15 were present and all 15 signed the resolution.
Sino nga yung 15?
Our chairperson, Secretary Duque, acting PCO, Dr. Ferrer, CSC Commissioner Valderosa Jr., DSWD Secretary Bautista, the alternate of DILG Secretary Anyo, Secretary Bello, SSS President Attorney Dook, the alternate of Secretary of the Finance, the NAPSI Vice Chairperson, Mr. Alerosa, OFW Sector Representative, Dr. De La Serna.
Secretary of the board, did you ever tell them or advise them, sir, huwag niyong pipirmahan yan, delikado po tayo. Did you do that? Did you do that?
Sir, we presented to the board
Hindi ko sinabi kung pinresent mo. Pinresent mo talaga yan. Sinasabi ko lang, did you ever advise them? Kahit na halimbawa personal, sir, pag-aralan muna nating mabuti. Did you do that? Kasi sabi ni Atty. Pocallan, o di ginawa niya ito, ano? Pero winarningan ko po sila eh. Kinusyon ko. Ganito ang ginawa mo, Atty. Pocallan. Para kang nagluto ng isang pagkain. Niluto mo, tapos binigay mo, sir, kung huwag niyo pong kakainin yan, malalason tayo. Ba't mo niluto in the first place? Ganito lang yan eh. Alam mo, kahit na yung mamamayan natin, kung nakikinig sa atin. Maintindihan niya na pinaglululoko mo kami. Attorney Mangawang, abogado ka naman, ikaw ang corporate secretary, di ba? Ang tinatanong ko lang naman, siyempre may kakilala ka naman sa mga board. Yung mga board natin, hindi naman sa dami ng ginagawa nila, siyempre kung ano yung inihain mo, niluto niya eh. Niluto niya. O ikaw naman, dala-dala mo. May mga pinggan ka na, pakakainin mo na. Sinabi mo, boss, wag mo munang kakainin yan, delikado po tayo. Bakit? Ang nagluto po si Atty. Pocallan, hindi naman po talaga kusinero yan. Baka po kung anong pinaglalagay niyan. Ang totoo naman kung anong pinaglalagay na Ricardo dito mali-mali eh. Paano po natin? Ayoko na po.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Tatanungin ko lang si Atty. Pocallan, no? Alam mo, bugbog ka na talaga dito at kung talagang ikaw ang gumawa nito, mananagot ka talaga sa batas. Now, ang tanong ko sa iyo, ginawa mo ba to on your own volition or somebody ordered you to do this? Kasi, alam mo, kanina ka pa namin tinatanong ni DS Marcoleta, no? Talagang sa iyo pumopokus na ikaw lang ang gumawa ng kasalanan. Kitang-kita namin dito sa lahat na ikaw talaga ang gumawa at ikaw ang nag-offer sa board. Now, ikaw ba talaga ang gumawa o may nag-utos sa iyo na gawin ito?
Attorney Pocallan, let me just remind you that you are under oath. At lahat po na sinasabi niyo dito, we will use in a committee report. So, pwede ho kung magsasalita na kayo dito.
This is your chance,
another thing,
Atty.
Mr.
Pocallan.
Chairman.
This is your chance.
Another thing, just a warning, attorney. This might be a ground for your disbarment for rendering an opinion that a decision of Court of Appeals can be modified by an administrative body.
Sige, Atty. Pocallan, maaari mo ba sagutin ang katanungan?
Again, sir, I stand by that opinion. No?
May nag-utos ba sa iyo o wala? Yun lang ang sasagutin mo. May nag-utos ba sa iyo o wala? Yes or no?
The board, sir...
May nag-utos ba sa iyo o wala? Yes or no lang?
Wala naman po, sir.
So wala nag-utos.
Opo.
So lahat ng responsibilidad ay inaako mo.
I stand by, sir, by that opinion because that was also affirmed by the OGCC. Then, although I warned the board that there will be a possible
Remember,
perception
Atty. Pocallan, you are under oath.
Just one
You are
final
under
question.
oath.
Attorney Barsaga. Congressman Barsaga, I'm sorry.
Right now, do you think that you can change or modify the decision of the Court of Appeals, which is already final and executory?
Attorney
Based,
Pocallan.
sir, on the exception, sir,
What exceptions?
there's an exception on the substantive
No,
to
pag
observe the
sinabi nating
substantive
exceptions,
justice.
ang mag-change will be the court which render the decision, but not another agency. Yung ba sinasabi mong exceptions, PhilHealth ang magde-determine kung pwedeng palitan o hindi?
Sir, because under RA 7875,
Hindi nga, tinatanong ko na lamang, yung sinasabi mong exceptions na pwedeng palitan o i-modify ang decision ng Court of Appeals. Ang magmo-modify ba o magpapalit ay ang board ng PhilHealth o opisyalis ng PhilHealth.
yes, sir,
Is
because the
that the-
quasi-judicial power is vested in the
Hindi nga,
PhilHealth
pag
board.
sinabi natin judicial powers, does PhilHealth have judicial powers?
Quasi-judicial power, sir.
Oh, ang judicial power, ako
penalize,
tatanungin mo, very clear sa Constitution. Judicial power shall be vested in the Supreme Court of the Philippines. Executive, sa Executive Department, legislation sa amin. Kaya ang tinatanong ko sa iyo, as a lawyer, right now, sinasabi mo ba sa amin, kayong mga congressman, dapat nyong malaman na ang decision ng Korte Suprema, ang decision ng Court of Appeals, kahit na final and executory, pwede naming palitan sa PhilHealth. Is that what you are saying right now?
Since the PhilHealth board, sir, has the quasi-judicial authority to
Oo
penalize.
nga, balik na naman tayo sa quiz judicial.
Anyway, Honorable Barsaga.
Nagloloko
Mr.
na lang
Chairman.
tayo rito. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, Honorable
Ayaw mo
Fernandez.
kasi be cited in contempt.
I second the motion, Mr. Chairman. I was about to say that. Mr. Chairman,
Session suspended. Hearing resumed. Honorable Barsaga.
Yes, I would like to make this motion. I most respectfully move, Mr. Chairman, that we cite Attorney Jonathan Pocallan for contempt for misleading the lawyers as well as the public that an administrative agency like the PhilHealth can change or modify the decision of the Court of Appeals, which is already final and executory. And that would actually constitute a disrespectful conduct or behavior in our proceedings. And that I base on my knowledge as a lawyer. And I think most lawyers, if not all, would agree with me that there must be finality insofar as judicial decisions are concerned.
There is a
This is
motion.
a very dangerous precedent. Even if there is already a decision coming from the Supreme Court, based on this precedent, they can modify and change the decision of the Supreme Court, all the final and executory.
I second
There
the
is
motion.
a motion duly seconded.
Second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any objections from Zoom? Are there any objections? There being none, motion is carried. My next question, in a declaration of contempt, sa ating pong pagdeklara ng contempt, ano pong parusa ang ipapataw, Honorable Barsaga?
Well, I move that he be detained before the House up to Monday.
Okay, meron pong motion hanggang Lunes. But let me just read the particular section as provided by the COMSEC. Section 11, contempt. Rules of procedure governing inquiries in aid of legislation. The committee may punish any person for contempt by a vote of 2/3 of the members present, there being a quorum. The following shall be grounds for citing any person in contempt: refusal without legal excuse to obey summons, refusal to be sworn or placed under affirmation, refusal to answer any relevant inquiry, refusal to produce any books, papers, documents, or records that are relevant to the inquiry and are in the possession of the concerned person, acting in a disrespectful manner towards any member of the committee or any misbehavior in the presence of the committee or undue interference in the conduct of proceedings. Contempt of the committee shall be deemed contempt of the House. The person cited in this section may, upon order of the committee, be detained in such a place as the chairperson or acting chairperson may designate. Section 12, penalty. By a vote of 2/3 of the members present, there being a quorum, those cited under Section 11, paragraphs E and F, shall be detained for a period not exceeding 10 days in a place designated by the chairperson or acting chairperson under the custody of the sergeant at arms. Ang motion ni Honorable Barsaga, there's a motion for contempt. The motion is to declaring contempt and to detain him for 3 days. Are there any objections from plenary, from Zoom? There being none, the motion and the penalty is hereby carried. Attorney Pocallan, you are declaring contempt. Dito ka po sa Kongreso hanggang Lunes. I will ask the Sergeant at Arms to designate an area given that we are in a COVID pandemic. So with that, I will suspend session so that the Sergeant at Arms can accompany Attorney Pocallan to the designated area. Session suspended.
Sergeant at Arms, let's make sure that the place where he will be detained is a comfortable and convenient place, Mr. Chairman.